to an all-new edition of R&D Garage. First and foremost, Happy New Year! Yay! So we're spending New Year's Eve working on my new favorite girl, BlackBerry, and we're doing a brake job. So as always, if you're not quite sure how to do the brakes on your own car, it's best to take it to a professional. Here at R&D, I'm just giving you a bird's eye view of what you can expect the mechanics to do, or what you can expect if you do truly want to try it on your own. But as always, I have to put in that disclaimer now. Anyway, I want to thank all my subscribers, especially the new ones, for signing up. You guys are making my day. The ones that have been there since the beginning, oh my gosh, I want you all to have like the happiest new 2022 ever. But I'm gonna go ahead, throw on a sweatshirt and get going because I am eager to work on this girl and drive her next year. Let's do it. Okay guys, so we're just about ready to begin. First, I'm gonna do a little bit of explaining, but before that, I want to thank my buddy Chris at 614 Yoda for sending me this other super fleecy sweatshirt that I absolutely love, and it's my favorite color. Okay, so when we first got this car, it spent its first few years as a back east car. So it's got a lot more crud underneath than I'm used to in a regular California car. So that's kind of new to me. Also, when we got it from the previous owner, we checked all the fluids and everything straight off. And the brake fluid, super duper low, black as midnight. Basically, we're just gonna come in here and replace everything. So I'm gonna tell you about the parts and the tools I'm gonna use. Okay guys, so I feel like I don't need to explain the tools by now. You'll see what I use as I get the work done. But I do want to explain where the two parts came from, or actually three. So first, we have a premium coated centric caliper. We have also the premium coated centric rotor, which centric basically rebuilds these parts and they're always completely flawless and we love them. As far as pads, we got the Hawk High Performance Street 5.0 pads. These are a little bit hotter than your standard pads, simply because I'm still debating whether or not to road race my little BlackBerry here. So these will come in handy. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, let's talk about brake fluid. So I like to use the Castrol React SRF Racing brake fluid. It has a high wet boiling point, which is awesome, especially if you're gonna be, maybe road racing, just kind of fooling around with your car. And it's a little more pricey, but I feel it also protects the brakes for even up to a year. If you have this, let's just say it's good stuff. So this is what we're gonna use and what I totally recommend. Okay guys, first step, let's remove these two screws. And do me and do yourself a favor, do not reuse these screws if they're all bungled up, because you will strip them, and we almost did on the other side. Oh yeah, and just to preface, we already did the driver's side, and so I'm literally only gonna show you guys this side, the left side. Okay, let's do it. So we've already got this on here, so I'm gonna take care of this first. And you can see, like, this screw already is, ugh. Yeah, we will not be reusing that. Okay, so I'm gonna set it aside. Let's go ahead and take care of this guy. And again, since you can see there's a little more rust than I'm used to, I'm just gonna take my time with this. I'm not just gonna turn it herky-jerky because I do not want to strip it out. So, there we go. Beautiful. And that's another screw we're not going to reuse. Let's move on. Okay guys, now I'm going to take off the two caliper bolts. I know like we're not showing you where they are right now, but basically if you peek behind your caliper, you will find them. They're 17 millimeter and they can't hide. So there's one on top and one down below. So you're going to get a nice shot of the back of my head as I take those off. And as always, make sure you're in reverse, which you are. Okay, and I've got lights in my eyes. Sweet. Okay, I'm gonna use, there we go. Okay, we've got one. Let's do the one on top. There we go. Perfect. And it whirled under the car. That's okay. I probably should have worn my safety glasses for that. Let's move on. Okay guys, so as you can see, the S2K brake line is very, very short. And so when I take off the caliper, it almost has no give. And so to give it a little bit more give, there's a bolt back here that I'm gonna take off. It's actually on the underside of that. So I am going to have to snake this through, just like this, and take it off. And it's a little crowded under here, so just be careful of your hands. And that is not even close to coming off. Okay. By the way, for all you local folks who are into cars, and I'm assuming if you're watching me, you are into cars, we'll be at the Novato Cars and Coffee on Sunday, this Sunday, the 2nd? So we'll probably be bringing the Civic. So if you're interested, come up and say hi to me. And yeah, it's almost out. I'm gonna give it one more with the old ratchet. There we go. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and take off this caliper. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit it with the hammer because seeing as how everything else has been a little bit stuck, I don't want to kneel on that. I'm just going to go ahead and take the initiative. Okay. And once it's off, I'm going to go ahead and hook it up. And obviously, it's super important you don't hurt yourself. Okay, I think that did it. Oh yeah. There we go. So you can see how tight that brake cable is, brake line. Okay, so the caliper is off. We're gonna thread it through the screw hole right here and hang it right over here. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, next steps. I'm gonna pull off the rotor. I'm gonna use my wire brush a little bit, and then I'm gonna hit it up with some brake clean. Let's do this. So this, yep, that's nice and easy. Whew. So you can see, again, this is not what we're used to in California. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my wire brush. I'm gonna ignore the studs, no need to brush those, but I am gonna try to get rid of some of this rust here, kind of like, just so like the new rotor fits better. Let's do it. And you can see some of the dust. I should probably be wearing my glasses here. Let's do this. And Chris, I'm really trying not to get this sweatshirt dirty. Okay, so you guys can see it's becoming a little bit cleaner, a little bit more shine. So it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and back up a little bit, get my feet out of the way, and then spray with the brake clean. So, oh, because it comes out fast. I'm always surprised, but you can see it is definitely looking better. And oh my gosh, that looks so weird when it goes the evap. Okay, I'm being weird. Let's move on. Okay, so it's time to throw on the new rotor. Now, when you first get this, when you get it from the manufacturer, they coat the surface with oil. So you're gonna wanna hit this up and clean it with brake clean too, which we already did. Okay, now remember when putting on the rotor, there's like these 2 extra screw holes, which basically line up with the ones right here and right here. So we're gonna go ahead and put this on. And again, once you've cleaned off the surface, try not to touch it. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited, you guys. This little girl needed it so bad. Perfect. And again, remember, it's gonna kind of hang a little funny until you get the screws back on. Let's move on. Okay, so unfortunately we don't quite have our replacement screws yet. So for now, I'm gonna use the less crappy of the two I just took off to basically hold it in place. And I'm gonna use the top right here. So after this, we're gonna put on our caliper. So remember, you do wanna hold the bottom just so it's on straight. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so before we put on the caliper, we want to make sure that there's no rubbing on the wheel bearing. And so now's a good time to be quiet and listen. And I don't hear anything. And also, you can try to shimmy it. Obviously, it's going to have a little bit of play because we're missing a screw, but if it has a lot of play, that's not good and something is hampering it. But nah, this is good. Now let's go get that caliper. Okay guys, so here's my beautiful new caliper. Now I've already loaded in the pads as per spec. They're as per spec. They're in there nice and tight. And again, before you touch the pads and when you're installing them, make sure your hands or your gloves are completely free of oil or grease or anything else, because the last thing you want are greasy brakes. Not a good thing. Okay, let's go ahead and load this up. I'm going to go ahead and put it on, and then I'm going to bolt it in. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the old caliper and reattach the brake line to this caliper. So let's do it. So as a warning, well, not really a warning, but I may have Dee help me, only because sometimes the bolts are a little bit fiddly to go into the new parts, and this gets a little heavy for me. I haven't been working out that much. It's winter, I'm hibernating. So, okay. And again, it goes in with bolts towards the back of the car, or towards the inside of the car. And, oh, wow, that went in like super perfect. Okay, so you want to make sure it's in all the way. There's no like movement. Here's the brake, and so now's the part where I'm going to try to put the brake in, or the bolt in, all of myself. You may have to kind of jiggle a little to get it in, but I know you guys can do it. Okay. And I think I actually got it on the first try. Holy moly. Damn, I'm good. Oh, look at that, guys. Okay, now I'm not going to tighten the first bolt all the way. I'm going to go ahead and fit the second bolt, but man, I think that is like the easiest time I've ever had a caliper put on. So let's go ahead and go into the bottom here. I'm pretty sure I just got grease on my nose. Yep, I was sticking it in the wrong hole. There we go. And again, try not to bump your head. It's all sharp underneath here. Come on. There we go. So again, you may have to jiggle. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to torque these down to 84 foot-pounds. So I've already got my torque wrench into place. This is a very tight space, so again, just be careful and don't hurt yourself. Luckily, it's on the floor, so I'm probably not going to fall. Oh, geez, I'll get that. There we go, perfect. And I almost wanted to add, well, I'll go ahead and add it anyway, but you don't want to bring it up too far because you will hit the body of the car, and yeah, Lord knows she doesn't need any more issues. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and hook it on the bottom. Okay, so bolt issues, it's okay. Now we're doing the second one. Again, 84 foot-pounds, and just be careful you don't hit the body of the car. It can be a little squirrely down here. So, and again, make sure your socket's on straight. Let's do this. So I've got one hand on that. There we go. Okay. Oh, that part is done. Let's move on. So this is what's known as a banjo bolt. And what that means, actually, I don't know why it's called banjo, but you'll notice there's a hole that goes through the bolt right there, and there's a hole at the top. So this literally helps the brake fluid travel from the brake line into the caliper. And how you're going to put this on is first you're going to put on the first washer, and then you're going to connect the brake line to the bolt, and then you're going to put on the second washer, and then the whole thingamajig is going to go right here. So let's do that. Okay guys, so as you can see, my brake line is now attached. We've got basically the crush washer, the brake line, another crush washer, and the Banjo Bolt. So you always want to use brand new crush washers. I cannot state that enough. Okay, and plus this is the type of job where you want to go back and check, because this is pretty much the only part that would be guaranteed to leak oil if it's not on properly, on tight. So I'm going to go ahead and torque this down 25 foot-pounds and move on. Oh, perfect. I love those easy ones. So now you can see the head of the Banjo Bolt as well. Let's move on. Okay, so I wanted to do kind of like a slight warning. The S2000s are super twitchy, especially the years 05 and below. Anybody who's ever driven one can fully attest to that. It's not a car you just get in and go. You actually have to concentrate on driving it. And I remember when they first came out, a lot of people were crashing. You don't want that to happen. Where I'm going with this is, if you put a big brake kit on the front, but not on the rears, or if you have mismatched tires, it'll completely change the handling of the car to its detriment and possibly yours. So whatever you do on this car, yes, the parts are more expensive because this is kind of like the hot Honda besides the NSX. So again, just be super careful with these cars. If you treat it right, she'll treat you right. But if you don't, she can be a bit of a bear. So I'm just letting you guys know. Okay, so two things. You guys always ask me on Instagram where I get my shirts, and I absolutely love it. I love all the car shirts, even though they're mostly meant for men. So you guys will find your size, I promise you. But anyway, this one is from the Peterson when we were there about a month or so ago for Radwood. So I love this one. Okay, second thing, and back to the car. So once you mount your tire back on, before you fully tighten the nuts down, just go ahead and spin and see if you get any rubbing from the new caliper right here. Because even though they say that the calipers are exactly the same, maybe they might be a little bit thicker. Who knows? Anyway, it's best just to do this little sanity check to make sure you aren't rubbing and everything's going to be okay. That's the buzzword for 2022. Just let everything be okay. There you go. Okay, so this brake job is pretty much done. The fronts are pretty much done. We also have plans to do the rear brakes, not today. So we're basically not going to drive the car until all the brakes are done. And when we do the rears, we will definitely show you how to bleed the brakes. Super important. Okay, now that this part is done though, feel free to grab a very clean rag, like a brand new rag, and wipe down the rotor, because you can see, even though I tell people, please don't touch the rotor, sometimes it's impossible. You're going to have to touch it at some point. And you can see there's like little marks. So you can hit it with just a teeny bit of brake clean on the rag. Don't spray it because you don't want that stuff getting everywhere now. And again, give it a good wipe. And I think I just touched it again. But at any rate, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to R&D Garage this year. I appreciate every single one of you. I've laughed at your comments. I've appreciated every single comment, every single like, every single subscriber. You guys have no idea. Just seeing you guys subscribe to my channel and tell me that it's helped you, it makes my heart just pump out love for you all. So, okay, I'm getting super mushy, so I'm going to sign off, but we have a ton of stuff to look forward to next year, and I'm so glad you guys are with me. So again, be safe, be good, and have a very, very happy new year. Take care, you guys.